and shrimp to eat my internal organs.
You lured the pirates here and killed her just to be jealous and compete for favor. Since you are so keen on competing with her for favor, then I will make you die in the exact same way as her!
In my previous life, when the pirates launched a sneak attack, my husband, a Navy lieutenant, took all the men out to sea to celebrate Selena's birthday. I, who was pregnant, crawled out through the sewer to find him and brought all the men back to save the islanders. But his favorite mistress was caught by the pirates, who slipped through the net, humiliated, and died a tragic death. After my husband killed the pirates, he didn't say a single word. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day the pirates attacked. This time, if he still wants to protect his mistress, then let him be. When I was reborn, I watched the pirates speeding toward the shore on speedboats. A violent shiver ran through my body, and I pulled the alarm without a single second of hesitation. It blared across the entire island, but the only cruise ship on the island was gone. My best friend stumbled and threw herself in front of me, her voice cracking with tears.
Vivian, the pirates are attacking! Where have all the men gone? The cruise ship is gone too! What are we going to do?
Before I could answer, the other women and children crowded around us. Dozens of helpless, terrified eyes locked onto me. As the only one who knew what was coming, I had to tell them the truth.
James had taken every last man, every weapon we had, and sailed the cruise ship to the open sea to celebrate Selena's birthday.
My mother-in-law snarled, shaking with rage.
Has he lost his mind? He knows pirates can siege Coral Island at any time, and he dared to take every single Navy man with him? That homewrecker Selena! I always said she was no good! Parading around all weak and innocent, leading men on, and now look what's happened! She's gonna get us all killed!
Her breakdown flipped a switch, and the women erupted into chaos all at once. They seized my body, and I pulled the alarm without a single second of hesitation. It blared across the entire island, but the only cruise ship on the island was gone. My best friend stumbled and threw herself in front of me, her voice cracking with tears.
Vivian, the pirates are attacking! Where have all the men gone? The cruise ship is gone too! What are we going to do?
Before I could answer, the other women and children crowded around us. Dozens of helpless, terrified eyes locked onto me. As the only one who knew what was coming, I had to tell them the truth.
James had taken every last man, every weapon we had, and sailed the cruise ship to the open sea to celebrate Selena's birthday.
My mother-in-law snarled, shaking with rage.
Has he lost his mind? He knows pirates can siege Coral Island at any time, and he dared to take every single Navy man with him? That homewrecker Selena! I always said she was no good! Parading around all weak and innocent, leading men on, and now look what's happened! She's gonna get us all killed!
Her breakdown flipped a switch, and the women erupted into chaos all at once. They screamed curses at Selena, calling her shameless, raging about how she'd lured all their men away. As they spoke, the pirate speedboat drew near the shore. Panic exploded through the crowd. I fought to take control, yelling over the noise to tell them to stay calm, that everyone needed to take cover in the tunnels. Our island is far from the mainland, and we've long faced pirate raids. To protect ourselves, we built these tunnels to hide from attackers. The cramped tunnels were packed with women and children. All of us could hear the pirates' leering laughs as they hunted for women across the island. Terror seeped into every single one of us. To save everyone, there's only one risky way out. We have to crawl through the sewer, then take the speedboat to call for backup. My mother grabbed my hand tightly.
Vivian, you can drive a boat. Climb out to find James and bring him and the men back to save us.
I'm afraid James will refuse to come back with me even if I beg him.
Silence fell over the crowd instantly. 3 months ago, Selena was rescued to this island by James. Ever since then, James has clung to her day and night. Under the pretense of taking care of her, they were inseparable. They went fishing together, trained side by side every single day. Island residents whispered behind their backs, saying James and Selena were meant to be a couple. James grew even more affectionate with her amid the gossip. Instead of keeping his distance, I've quarreled with him countless times, screaming to ask who his true wife was, but he turned a blind eye to my pain, only calling me petty and jealous.
You're just jealous of Selena.
Ever since Selena arrived on the island, our love had completely vanished. Just as everyone was trapped in despair, my sister-in-law stepped forward bravely.
Let me handle this. I'm on good terms with all the Navy folks. What's more, Vivian's expecting. I couldn't face my brother if anything bad happened.
With that, she jumped into the sewer without delay. She crawled through the cold, dirty, damp pipes, heading for the outside world. We huddled and cowered in the tunnel, silently praying we would never be discovered. But the pirates still found the tunnel entrance.
There's an iron door here! I bet all the women are hiding inside. I knew it! There's no way! A huge island like this has not a single woman! I've been drifting at sea for months on end. I won't hold back this time!
Driven by twisted desire for the women inside, the pirates began smashing and bashing the iron door frantically. Loud, heavy banging echoed non-stop. Every woman turned deathly pale, overcome with terror. They could only beg for the men to hurry back and rescue them. Half an hour later, Lily crawled out of the sewer, covered in filth. The crowd cheered at the sight of her, certain she'd brought the men back for help, yet their joy faded fast. She hung her head and wiped her tears, heartbroken.
I'm sorry they refused to come back with me.
My mother asked in a panic.
Why won't they return? Their wives and children are all trapped in here.
Sobbing harder, Lily bit her trembling lip and spoke.
My brother called me a liar. He said pirates would never attack Coral Island. He accused me of lying alongside Vivian to trick him, and slapped me across the face.
Spotting the clear handprint on her cheek, everyone blamed Selena for being a seductress.
Selena's such a homewrecker. She'll get what's coming to her! James skipped out on his duty. He actually disregarded the safety of everyone just for the sake of a woman!
The pirates had started using bombs to break through. In that instant, a deafening explosion boomed. The rusted iron door of the tunnel would only hold for 1 more hour at most.
Don't panic, everyone! Calm down! The nearest Starshark Island is just 20 minutes away. I'll go get reinforcement right now.
The old mother-in-law grabbed my arm. Her rough, calloused palms were soaked in cold sweat.
Vivian, the safety of all the women and children depends on you. You must bring the reinforcements back.
I nodded gently. Bearing my pregnancy bump and enduring the stench, I crawled laboriously out of the sewer to the ground. I hopped onto a spare speedboat and raced straight toward the nearest Starshark Island. When my speedboat rushed onto the beach of Starshark Island, I spotted several armed men already waiting there. The moment I recognized the leading man, my eyes lit up with hope. It was Mike, the Navy's second lieutenant.
Didn't James take him out to sea? Why is he here?
I had no time to wonder. I stumbled toward him, about to explain the pirate ambush. His gaze toward me was filled with disgust. He suddenly yanked me forward sharply.
Vivian, how could you be such a repulsive woman?
I stared at him blankly, confused by his words.
The lieutenant specifically told me to wait for you here. He said you're consumed by jealousy, plotting with Lily. You'd go to other islands to spread lies, all just to ruin Selena's birthday ceremony.
Hearing Mike's words, I trembled with rage.
How cruel James could be. Just to stop me from fetching help, he actually sent men to block my only path. The pirates are already attacking Coral Island. I'm not to spread rumors. I've come to get reinforcements. If no one comes to drive the pirates away, within an hour, everyone will die.
Perhaps seeing my overly serious expression, a flicker of hesitation crossed his eyes. After all, his wife, children, and mother were all left behind on the island too. When Mike was about to contact James on the walkie-talkie, one of his men leaned in and whispered,
"If there really was a pirate raid, how would the lieutenant not know about it?"
His face showed blind, unwavering trust. James was a former soldier, blessed with sharp battlefield instinct and great leadership. He had led the islanders to fend off pirate attacks dozens of times. After barely a second of silence, Mike burst into mocking laughter.
Vivian, you're quite the actress. You almost had me fooled. I know exactly what kind of man the lieutenant is. He's highly responsible and the leader of our Navy. There's no way he'd lack such basic vigilance.
His mocking words pierced my heart like a knife, tears welling up in my eyes. Every second wasted put the women in greater danger. I tried to rush toward the island recklessly, but Mike stepped forward and pinned me down in an instant. He then took out a rope and tied me up. With a cold expression,
As long as I'm here, you're not going anywhere.
Mike bound me tightly and tossed me straight onto the speedboat. Sitting on the speeding boat, I watched Star Shark Island drift further away. I closed my eyes in utter despair. On the cruiser anchored in open water, the Marines crowded around the deck and lit a fire. They sang Selena Happy Birthday. Wearing a glamorous gown, she danced with James right in the middle of the singing. I stared at the man who in my past life had me killed for his true love. A fire of pure hatred spread through my chest. The pirates were about to break through the bunker's steel door, and he was still here, dancing with the woman he loved. The moment they noticed me, they stopped. Selena walked up to me first.
Vivian, this is all my fault. If it weren't my birthday today, you wouldn't have to run around spreading lies about pirates.
As she spoke, she kept leaning against James's chest, but when she looked at me, a tiny mocking smile curled at the corner of her mouth. James gently stroked her hair.
Baby, what did you do wrong? You're just innocent and sweet.
Then he looked at me with utter disgust.
She's the problem. She's so blinded by jealousy she can't stand it. Just to fight for my attention, she'd actually play games with everyone's lives.
I was too terrified for the people back on the island to even care about their mockery. I took a deep breath. I looked straight at him.
The steel door on Coral Island won't hold much longer. If the pirates break into that bunker, every wife and child on that island will be dragged out and violated.
But the only answer I got was a brutal slap across the face.
Vivian, let me make this very clear. The more you pull stunts like this, the more I absolutely hate you.
I struggled, but no matter how hard I fought the ropes, I could not break free. I was so desperate I was sobbing. If he refused to go back, fine, but why stop me from getting help from the neighboring islands?
Any later, and it really would be a massacre!
I begged him over and over, but James did not untie me.
To punish you for lying, I will tie you up all night.
He only said coldly, then he wrapped an arm around Selena's slim waist and walked back to the fire. Right in the middle of everyone singing, the two of them started dancing again. Tears streamed down my face. I watched them completely waste the last chance to save our people. It was over. Selena's birthday party went on until dawn. Only then did everyone finally stop celebrating. They fired up the cruiser and headed back to the dock. On the way back, they were still laughing and joking around. But when the ship pulled in, the only thing waiting for them was a landscape of smoking ruins and half-naked bodies scattered everywhere. The entire island was eerily silent. The bunker reeked of iron and rot. I stood at the threshold, my fingers white as I gripped the doorframe, tears streaming down my face. This shelter was supposed to be filled with women, children, and the elderly. Now it was nothing but a graveyard of severed limbs. Everything was over. Mike stepped into a pool of blood that hadn't even dried yet. A severed finger was floating in it. There was an old-fashioned thimble still on it. He recognized it instantly. His mother always used that thimble when she sewed.
How could this happen?
When he knelt to pick up the blood-stained thimble, his knees slammed into the concrete. He collapsed right there, sobbing. His voice shook so hard it barely sounded human. One of the younger men fell to his knees, too. His trembling hand picked up a tiny hair clip. It was his little sister's pink strawberry barrette. She wore it every single day. He clenched it in his fist and pressed it to his forehead. His shoulders shook violently.
It's my fault. I shouldn't have left you. I shouldn't have left you.
Regret spread through the bunker like a plague. Some men punched the walls. Some collapsed to the floor, staring into nothing as they repeated their family members' names. Others clung to each other and wailed, their tears mixed with the blood on their faces under the flickering lights. I leaned against the wall and slowly slid down. My chest hurt so badly I could barely breathe. Something warm landed on the back of my hand. Only then did I realize I was crying so hard I couldn't stop. Looking at the horror in front of us, Selena choked out a sob. Tears streamed down her face. She looked like she was too devastated to go on.
How could the pirates attack Coral Island today? Did they know it was my birthday too?
She added it softly, just loud enough for everyone to hear. That sentence hit the room like gasoline on an open flame. James snapped his head up and glared at me.
You knew the pirates were coming, didn't you? You chose today on purpose, all because you were jealous. You've been targeting Selena since the day she got here. And now, just to frame her, you were willing to sacrifice everyone?
I stared at his twisted face and suddenly felt something close to absurdity. To protect Selena, he was actually pinning a massacre on me. Then a slap cracked across my face. Pain exploded through my skin. I stumbled backward and slammed into a metal locker. The taste of iron filled my mouth. Mike grabbed my collar. His eyes were bloodshot.
Was it you bitch? Did you lure the pirates here just to get back at the lieutenant?
My vision blurred with tears. I shook my head. Then he threw me to the ground. His knee crushed into my stomach. The back of my head slammed against the concrete. Everything went black for a second.
Do you even know what you're doing? How many times has Vivian tutored our kids? Last time the pirates came, who carried the wounded for miles? You don't get it. She brought them here. Otherwise, why is she the only one left alive? My mom, my wife, my child. How could you do this?
More and more people chose to believe him. The crowd slowly closed in around me. Every pair of bloodshot eyes was filled with pure hate. They kept coming closer. I shrank back on instinct, wrapping both arms around my stomach. Right when I thought I was about to die, James stepped through the crowd and stood in front of me again. James came walking in from behind the crowd. The Marines automatically stepped aside for him. He was wearing a crisp new outfit. Even his boots were polished, spotless. He looked completely different from everyone else, covered in blood and filth. I was curled up in the corner against the wall. My fingers twisted helplessly in my clothes. My knuckles had gone white. The baby inside me seemed to sense the danger. A small kick pressed against my stomach. James crouched down in front of me and brushed the messy hair off my forehead.
Vivian.
He sighed my name. His fingers touched my swollen cheek.
Does it hurt?
His breath was warm against my ear, but every word out of his mouth was poison.
Even if you are my wife, you killed all these people. I can't let you live.
He was here to condemn me himself. Once he pinned the blame on me for luring the pirates here and killing everyone's wives and children, they could execute me openly. And just like that, no one would blame him anymore for taking all the Marines away and leaving the island defenseless. When James's boot slammed into my stomach, I heard something inside me break. I curled up on the ground. My nails scraped into the cracks in the concrete. Warm blood poured down between my legs. My shaking hand went to my stomach. The place that had once curved gently with life was now terrifyingly flat. 5 months, 17 tiny kicks. All those nights I whispered to the ultrasound photo in the dark. All of it turned to blood under one kick. Selena still stood there, adding fuel to the fire.
Vivian, you went too far. James and I got a little close, but you've always been the one he couldn't get over. You should never have made a joke like this in such a cruel way.
She blinked, and one perfect tear rolled down her face. Just as James lifted a hand to order the Marines to deal with me, a familiar voice rang out and everyone turned. Lily was walking toward us with a huge group of children behind her. Through Lily, they learned the truth. To protect the children, Evelyn and all the women chose to fight the pirates to the death. They used their own lives to carve out a blood-soaked path of survival for Lily and the kids. The Marines rushed forward, frantic, grabbing their children into their arms. The children survived, but the mothers and grandmothers who died were never coming back. James went pale. His lips trembled, but he could not say a word.
We didn't die.
Lily turned to the Marines and pointed straight at her brother. Her eyes burned with hatred.
If you hadn't taken all the Marines away, none of this would have happened.
You and Selena killed everyone!
Mike stared at James with bloodshot eyes.
Lieutenant, didn't you say Lily was just being jealous? Didn't you say she was making it all up? Didn't you say we were supposed to ignore her and focus on Selena's birthday? Why is my mother dead? Why is my wife gone?
The Marines who had lost their families started walking toward James, step by step. James's face turned white as paper. I looked at the blood all over the ground, and tears slid down my face. I had been reborn. I changed my own fate, but I still could not save everyone. The furious men charged James and Selena all at once. Their screams came one after another, louder and louder without end. I should have felt satisfied, but all I felt was sorrow and bitterness. The next second, I blacked out. When I opened my eyes again, the sharp smell of disinfectant hit my nose. Outside the window, I could hear buildings collapsing now and then, and each crash sent dust rising into the air. I leaned against a hospital bed that felt like it might fall apart any second. The metal frame creaked under the weight. The wound in my abdomen throbbed faintly, and the flatness beneath the bandages reminded me that the life inside me was gone forever. Mike was kneeling ramrod straight on the floor, his forehead pressed against the cold dirt. The second he heard me move, he jerked his head up. The man who once looked so vicious was now covered in tears and snot. He slammed his head into the ground.
I'm not even human. I'm sorry, Vivian.
Your face is so pale.
Lily waved her hand in front of my face and draped her tattered parka over me. I came back to myself, realizing my nails had already dug deep into my palm. Outside, the wet sea wind blew in through the window with a metallic smell. For one sickening second, it blended with the blood-soaked memory of the concrete floor. Mike was still apologizing.
I'm sorry for you. I really deserve to die.
That's enough.
I lifted a weak hand to stop him.
You were trying to protect everyone too.
Before I could finish, Lily smacked the back of his head.
Oh, now you know how to apologize? You were real tough when you were backhanding her, weren't you?
Mike did not dodge. Instead, he grabbed my hand and slapped it against his own face. His cheekbone hit my knuckles so hard it hurt. Something hot ran down through our fingers. I could not tell if it was his tears or the blood from my palm.
I deserved to die. I was blind.
I knew the moment my baby turned into a pool of blood on that floor would scar him for the rest of his life. But I was still drowning in the pain of losing my child. At that moment, I had no comfort left to give. I sat there for a long time before I finally spoke.
Mike, can you do me a favor? I want James and Selena dead.
He looked up at me with blood-red eyes and nodded without hesitation.
I'm in.
Lily was the first to jump up.
That kind of heartless animal still thinks he deserves to be the lieutenant? How is anyone supposed to trust him with their lives?
Mike stood up in silence and pulled out a blood-stained tactical knife. It had been James's birthday gift to him. He dropped it to the floor and crushed it under his boot until it snapped.
Leave it to me.
That day, the Marines did not kill James and Selena. They beat them half to death first. After that, they locked them up. Even without me saying a word, they had already decided the two of them would die brutally. Mike led a group of Marines in, dragging the filthy, broken pair forward with ropes. Then they threw them into the pit where the island kept its wild animals.
Mike! Vivian! You can't do this to me! I saved your lives before! If it weren't for me, you all would have died in the very first pirate raid! I'm your savior!
James screamed like a madman. He did not want to die. He wanted to use that old debt to force everyone into sparing him. Selena was a sobbing mess, tears streaming down her face.
Vivian, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have fought you over a man. I'll give James back to you. Please let me go. I don't want to die. Please.
You didn't want to die? Did the others want to die? I listened to both of them beg. My face stayed cold and felt nothing. When no one spoke up for him, humiliation flashed across James's face, but it quickly twisted into something uglier. Then he turned to Lily.
Lily! I'm your brother! Didn't Dad tell you before he died to listen to me? So now you're turning against your own family?
Lily suddenly laughed.
Listen to you?
She pulled something from her tactical pouch and threw it in his face. It was our mother's pocket watch. Inside the cracked glass was a yellowed note. Lily, be like Vivian, never be like your brother. James recoiled like he had been burned. By then, the crowd had already closed in. The old Marines who had once supported him the most were now looking at him with nothing but icy disappointment.
What do you mean, turning against family? You really have no idea how much Vivi did for us, do you?
Lily's voice shook.
Then at least remember this. Last month, when the pirates attacked, Vivi was pregnant and still held the South Gate with everyone else. And where was your Selena? Every time happened, she turned and got a bink. She always hid in the safest place and never came out.
Lily hurled a bloodstained phone. The screen cracked on impact, but the footage still played. Late at night in the clinic, I was asleep at the desk. Surrounded by anti-radiation medicine, I had stayed up all night preparing. In a storm, I was reinforcing the eastern wall alone, drenched to the bone. When food ran short, I secretly slipped my own share into an orphan's backpack. James went pale. His lips trembled, but no words came out. No one listened to their begging. The Marines shoved both of them straight into the cage. The second the wild animals saw living people, they exploded with terrifying energy. They lunged. Selena screamed, but she could do nothing. A tiger knocked her to the ground. His expression changed instantly. He tried to run, but a wild wolf lunged at him and sank its teeth into his calf. His skin started turning gray right in front of our eyes.
Help me. For the child's sake.
James dropped to his knees and crawled toward me. His eyes were already clouding over. My finger trembled on the trigger. For a split second, I saw that night in the delivery room from my last life again. His twisted face in the middle of the chaos as he demanded that I pay with my life. James crawled closer. The flesh on his lower leg had already been torn open to the bone. His cloudy eyes widened in terror. A broken rasp came out of his throat. His ruined hand dragged across the ground, leaving a long streak of blood.
Vivian, save me.
The barrel of my gun lowered with his body. The gunshot shook rust loose from the ceiling. A hole blossomed in the center of James's forehead, and the final look frozen on his face was not fear. It was relief. Selena didn't even last long enough for me to pull the trigger. The wolf had already torn through her carotid artery. Her perfectly curled hair was soaked in blood. One of her pearl earrings rolled to my feet. After both of them were torn apart by the beasts, the Marines still weren't satisfied. They stormed into the holding pit. Gunfire rained down as they emptied every last bullet into the bodies. Her polished fingers were still clutching James's arm. Her nails were dug deep into the shredded flesh of his skin. Mike kicked Selena's twisted corpse aside and held out a gas can to me.
You want to light it yourself?
I took the can. The cold metal against my hand made me think of the hospital hallway floor that night in my last life, when James dragged me away from the delivery room. The second the flames shot up, the heat sent a rag doll flying from the corner. I had sewn it in secret from an old military uniform. It was supposed to be my baby's gift. Now, the way it burned mimicked the little life that never got the chance to grow. The fire rose higher. The heat twisted the air. I stood there and watched the bodies burn. But I felt no warmth. That was when I understood. Revenge wasn't sweet. It was scorching ash. It burned the throat. It choked off every curse and every question I never got to say. Somewhere in the distance, one of the younger Marines started crying. They would never understand that this fire wasn't only burning two filthy bodies. It was burning a wife's last faith in her husband, and a mother's last dream for her child. When the first rays of sunrise tore through the clouds, I stood on the rebuilt watchtower and looked down at the brand new harbor. In the distance, the newly formed children's choir had already started rehearsing. Their young voices floated through the morning light.
The flowers that bloom from ruins are brighter than the roses that came before the war.
The grief of losing our loved ones had not faded, but hope had already begun to rise.